Did you know that for this movie, Allison Robertson replaced Allison Wright from the accountant as Justine, but Wright still provides their computer-generated voice. So I saw The Accountant 2 last night and had a really good time. I've heard really great things about this movie. Some are saying it's even better than the first Accountant movie. I was really looking forward to this movie a lot. I have three things that I loved about this movie, and my last thing is definitely my favorite. First thing I liked about this movie is the story. This time around, the story was a little different than I was expecting. Kind of the focus on the kid that they're trying to find and why he was so important. Because most of the movie, while I was watching, I'm like, okay, I just was really hoping that when we finally figure out why this boy that they're trying to rescue is so important, that it makes sense. The reason why they were trying to rescue the boy was a very good reason. Tied into the overall story and the overall awareness of what they're trying to do here. Chris coming back. Ben Affleck did a phenomenal job as Chris in the first movie, and I liked it in this movie where, it's not so much math focused in this movie. We get to see his autism in a few different ways in this movie that we didn't see in the first one. Once he kind of figured out an algorithm in the beginning, which that was actually really funny, with the whole dating site, and he made his own algorithm. And then he got all the women there just to come to him because he hijacked the algorithm. But also, one of my favorite scenes in the movie actually is when he's at the bar with his brother Brax. He's figuring out how they're doing the two-step. And he's never done it before, but he's analyzing their patterns, and he jumps in there, and he's able to pick up on it right away. Like, it's just, to him, like, it's patterns, like how his brain works. And then the awareness again, the first movie really pushed like the awareness of autism, being aware of people who are autistic, and unfortunately, it seems like the number is rising nowadays with kids who have autism. The more you know about autism, the better equipped you'll be to handle it. But we get to see a really cool part of the movie, which I think this part of the movie makes it a little bit stronger than the first. Through the Harvard Neuroscience Academy, we get to see a whole bunch of the kids who all have a form of autism, some kind of disability, but now they're being utilized as like Chris's private army, all high functioning, and they could do incredible things. We got to see what they were able to do, the like hacking and the incredible, just what they're able to do with the technology. They do operate outside the lines, but I would say that in this case, I like that. Like, it's, you have Medina who's by the book, but then you have these kids who, I mean, really all they know is how, this is how they operate. And maybe they know it's not legal, maybe they do, maybe they don't, but to them, this is their best way of helping. What happens when you put all these kids together, all these high-function autistic people together, not just Chris. Chris is a force to be reckoned with on his own, but then you have a whole bunch of these kids together. They could destabilize countries with how good they are. And then not only autism was the main push, because that's the main disability we're focusing on here, but then we got introduced to disability I've never heard of before. It's called sudden savant syndrome. Head damage can actually sometimes open up different parts of your brain and gifts and stuff that you never knew existed. You become, in the literal sense, a completely different person than you were before. It's very educational. Like, I just love learning stuff like this. Like, my brother has cerebral palsy. He can still function, but like when I see other kids out there with disabilities and how people will take advantage of people with disabilities, but there are people out there who will protect them and want what's best for them, it just makes me smile. Like, knowing that these kids, yeah, they have a disability of some kind, but doesn't make them any less human. Like, they're still amazing kids, amazing people, and they deserve to be treated with the same respect that you would treat a normal person who doesn't have a disability. I'd say my favorite part of this movie, though, is one, we got a lot more scenes with Braxton. He's such a fun character, but also at the same time, like, you can tell he's carrying a lot of weight to being the brother of someone who's a high-functioning autistic man now, but still like had to go through all the stuff he was when they were kids, losing their father, their mother, all this stuff. But Braxton was cracking me up. Like, he's so funny, but at the same time, like, you don't want to mess with him, you don't want to mess with Chris. But the most beautiful thing I'd say about this movie is the relationship we got to see between him and Chris was beautiful. It was just their chemistry on screen, just the dynamics, and just how well Ben Affleck and John Bernthal work together, just showcasing like what it's like having a brother who has high functioning autism and doesn't think the way you think, doesn't feel the way you feel. Can be very frustrating at times, and we got to see that, and is very just like it hits you, like you can really feel Braxton's pain sometimes, where he's trying to connect with his brother, he's trying to spend time with his brother, and his brother does his best. His brother just said a really simple quote, but a powerful quote. He says, "I am who I am." Like, he can't change who he is. Like, this is how he was made this way. He was wired this way. And the best thing Brax can do is do his best to accept it, do his best to work with it, and learn. I really enjoyed all the time they had together, all the screen time, not just with like the fun time they had, but then like when it got real serious, when it got, life or death. Then you got to see, okay, are they going to come through for each other? Is Chris going to come through? Is Chris going to remember stuff? How he really does love his brother. He may show it in different ways, but how strong their brotherhood really is. And then my favorite scene was the bar scene where Chris analyzes two-step. He's never done a two-step before, but he was really digging this woman. He liked her, right? And he wanted to show how he liked her. And he just got in there, started dancing, started getting vulnerable, and amazing things happened. Like, he was getting into it, he's grooving, and his brother was just incredibly proud of him. Like, seeing Brax just like point out to everybody, like, that's my big brother right there, was beautiful. Like, I got a little emotional watching that part, because like you look at someone like Chris and you realize like he has an incredible amount of abilities and whatever, but at the same time, there's still some social awkwardness he's got to overcome. There's still some basic human interaction stuff that he's got to overcome. But he goes at it in a different way. He goes at it in his own way, and it still works out for him. Like, he was having the time of his life. When you see someone who society would deem kind of weird or a freak or whatever, but you see them out doing whatever they're doing, whether it's music or dancing or whatever their passion or skill is, and they have this big smile on their face and their eyes light up. It's the greatest thing in the world to see. The freedom of just being themselves. And when you see people like this experience the utter freedom and just letting go and letting the world know who you are, you're not ashamed of being this freak or this weirdo, that was just a very, very touching scene, and I was smiling big, and that was the best scene in the movie for me. So I highly recommend, see this movie as soon as you can. If you love the first movie, you're going to love this one. So for The Accountant 2, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10 Mudflaps. And remember, leave me a thumbs up and drop the comments below. What is your favorite movie about disabilities? See you soon.